Hello and welcome to a new episode of I'm Still Playing. Tonight we're talking about the amazement that is the final boss fight in the Wuthering Waves 2.2 update, and 3 things that I wished I'd known before starting the fight. Now, with the new update just around the corner, by now most of you have probably already completed this fight. But if you're just coming back to Wuthering Waves and catching up in this story, you're about to do this fight for the first time, well then hopefully I can provide you with a little bit of information that might be useful to you. And even if you have already completed the fight, well it's worth pointing out some of the genius things that the devs have done here, and some of the things that they could have done better, to be honest. Now obviously this video is going to contain spoilers for the final boss because, well, we're talking about the final boss fight. Alright, so let's break it down. You start off in Phase 1, and you're now in Havoc Mode Rover, which is, by the way, completely different than what you've done all the stories so far, because the game has put you in Spectral Rover up until now, regardless of whatever aspect your personal rover might be in. Now, the first thing that is pretty amazing about this fight are the sheer number of attack animations that Fleur-de-Lis has. In my little bit of combat alone, I saw a slash, swoop, pick up the weapon, throw it back down at you, a powered pierce followed by a quick backslash, and a 3-combo slash. But this leads us to the actual first thing that I wished I'd known about before starting the fight, and that Phase 1 doesn't matter. If you're very good, you can whittle her down a bit before she forces you to Phase 2. But if you're not very good, like me, say, then very quickly she's going to tap your health down to a certain level, lock you between 2 swords, and end Phase 1. Okay, between Phase 1 and Phase 2, there's actually this fantastic and quite long cinematic interlude between Cartetia and Fleur-de-Lis. I know we're already in spoiler territory, but I'm not going to spoil the cinematic for you. Just trust me, you're going to love it. However, when you begin Phase 2, though, this is where we get to the second thing I wished I'd known before starting this fight. Because this is where I think the devs made both a genius move and a terrible move at almost the same time. You'll notice that when you return, you're given some description of some new abilities. Now, you might, like me, miss the fact that it says Arrow Rover at the top, and just assume that these are some new abilities specific to this boss fight. But no. This is an actual whole new aspect for Rover, and the game is giving you a brief once-over of the new kit. Now, immediately before throwing you into a boss, I think is not the time to ask you to learn an entirely new aspect, but I do get it, because it does fit in so well with the story. But here's where the genius part comes in, because after the fight begins, they've used a character swap mechanic to give you access to all 3 Rover aspects. So they took an existing mechanic, that of swapping between characters, and used it in a new way that is just absolutely perfect for this fight. Genius. Now, I think the only downside to this mechanic is that they don't call nearly enough attention to the fact that this is what they've actually done. So, I don't know, someone could, say, for instance, go through the entire fight, assuming that they're only using a single aspect, because that's what we've been given access to all the way up until this point in the story, and never realize that they could swap to other aspects at any time throughout the fight. Now, I don't know who would be so boneheaded as to not pick up on something like that, but I'm just saying, it could happen. All seriousness aside, though, when I went back and looked at my own video for my own fight, and I realized that that is what they had done, I was just like, oh, that's so smart. I wished I had seen it while I was actually doing the fight. So, if you're watching this video before you've actually done the fight, well, now you know what to expect, and you will absolutely slay Fleur-de-Lis. And that's really the third and final thing that I wished I had known about this fight going in, and that is it's actually not that hard. Especially if you make full use of all 3 aspects and use their intros and outros efficiently. But even if you don't, it's just going to take a little bit longer. You shouldn't have any problem murdering Fleur-de-Lis. In fact, you only have to get her down to about 20% of her life before it triggers a cinematic. Oh, and oh my God, what a cinematic it is. Now, that's another aspect of this fight that's amazing, but suffice it to say, it's not something that I'm going to spoil for you today. And there you have it, the final battle with Fleur-de-Lis and 3 things I wished I'd known before starting it. What about you? Did you pick up on the mechanics like I didn't and make full use of all 3 aspects? Let me know what you thought about the fight in the comments below. And if this video did in fact provide you with any useful information, or, you just like seeing the old-timer flail a bit, well, you know what to do. And until next time, whatever you're playing, play hard.